That night, my phone buzzed. I glanced at the screen. Mom. My heart skipped a beat. How many months had it been since I last heard from her? I couldn't even remember. A year. Maybe more. I hesitated before answering. Maybe this time, she was calling to check on me. Maybe after all these years, she just wanted to say something simple like, "How have you been?" But no. The moment I picked up, her voice came through, blunt and emotionless. "I need $2,000. Lily needs a private dorm room." Lily, her husband's daughter. No greeting, no concern for how I was doing, no apology for what she had done to me in the past. Just a demand. And just like that, all the memories came rushing back. The day she stole my entire savings, the day she turned her back on me, the day I realized that in her eyes I had never truly mattered. I took a deep breath. I could have yelled. I could have confronted her. I could have demanded justice, but instead, I simply said one word. No. And with that, the storm truly began. I had no idea that this phone call would be just the beginning of my mother's emotional manipulation campaign. From guilt-tripping to dragging the rest of the family into it to, of all things, a lawsuit, she would stop at nothing to get what she wanted. But this time, I was ready. I wasn't that helpless child anymore. I once had a wonderful mother. As a child, she was my whole world. I remember the nights we cooked together, the times she brushed my hair before school, and the warm hugs she gave me whenever I was upset. I never doubted her love, until Mark appeared. My mother met Mark when I was 16. At first, I tried to accept him, but it quickly became clear that I was no longer my mother's priority. Mark had 2 children, Noah and Lily. And from the moment they stepped into our home, they were treated like royalty. I became invisible. Noah and Lily got new clothes, new phones, and trips I had never been offered. I watched as my mother beamed at them the way she used to with me. She spent hours talking to them, while my words were met with nothing but indifferent nods. I still remember that dinner. We were sitting around the table, and my mom kept asking Noah about his soccer team, Lily about her ballet classes. I waited, hoping she would turn to me and ask about my school, about the math test I had worked so hard for. She never did. Not a single question. Not a single glance. I no longer existed to her. When I finally tried to speak, Mark cut me off, smirking, at my mother. "She seems a little selfish, doesn't she? Not making an effort to fit in. And my mother?" She just nodded. She didn't defend me. She didn't say a word. That was the first time I realized I had lost my mother. And then came the biggest betrayal of my life. I thought I could endure it all. The neglect, the favoritism, even Mark's comments. I kept telling myself that I just needed to hold on until graduation. Then I'd be free. But I never imagined my mother could do something so cruel. I found out the truth on an ordinary afternoon. I had just come home from work. Ever since I was 16, I had been working at a small cafe, saving every penny for my future. And it wasn't just my hard-earned money. My grandparents had given me a huge gift. Right after I graduated high school, they transferred $22,000 into my account to help with college. Combined with my savings from my job, I had $24,000. It was the first time in my life I had something of my own. It represented freedom, a future. And then, it was gone. That day, I checked my bank account as usual. But instead of seeing my balance, it was $0. I blinked, thinking I had made a mistake. I refreshed the page. Nothing changed. Every single penny was gone. My hands shook as I called the bank, barely able to breathe as they confirmed it. The money had been withdrawn. By who? My mother. I didn't understand. Why? Why would she do this to me? I ran downstairs, barely able to think straight. I burst into the living room where my mother sat watching TV. Mom! My voice cracked with fury. Where is my money? She didn't look surprised. She didn't even look guilty. She simply shrugged as if I had asked her what was for dinner. I took it. I felt like the air had been knocked out of my lungs. What? You never respected this family. You never tried to fit in. This is your punishment. I stared at her, hoping she would laugh and tell me this was a joke. But no. Her expression remained cold. She didn't care. That was my money, I screamed. The money Grandma and Grandpa gave me. The money I worked for. And I was your legal guardian when you opened that account, she said matter-of-factly. I had every right. Right? She thought she had the right to steal my future? I stood there, my chest heaving with rage, but I knew one thing. My mother was gone. I turned, walked upstairs, and began packing my bags. That night, I left home and moved in with my grandparents, the only people who truly cared about me. I lost my savings. But I gained something more important, my self-respect. Years later, I thought I was free. After leaving my mother's house, I had to rebuild my life from nothing. Without my savings, I worked 2 jobs, pulled late-night shifts, and pushed myself to the limit just to get through college. But I did. I graduated, got a stable job, and rented my own little apartment. And most importantly, I was free. Or so I thought. One peaceful evening, while I was unwinding after work, my phone buzzed. I glanced at the screen. Mom. I hesitated. Why was she calling me after all these years? Maybe she had changed. Maybe she had realized her mistakes. Maybe, just maybe, she missed me. I picked up the phone. There was no, hi, no, how have you been? No, I'm sorry. Just one demand. I need $2,000. Lily needs a private dorm room. I was speechless. She had been absent for years, ignored my struggles, never once checked on me. And now she was asking for money for her stepdaughter? I wasn't angry. I wasn't sad. I was just disgusted. No, I said, my voice cold and firm. Silence. Then a scoff. No? You're really this selfish? I took a deep breath. No, Mom. I'm not selfish. I'm just not stupid anymore. And then the real storm began. She launched into full guilt trip mode. We're family. You can't just abandon Lily like this. I did everything for you, and this is how you repay me. Years ago, those words would have made me feel guilty. They would have made me doubt myself. But this time I wasn't her puppet anymore. Spoke only one sentence before hanging up. You lost the right to call me family a long time ago. And I blocked her number. But I was naive to think it was over. The real nightmare was just beginning. I thought that blocking my mother would be the end of it. But I underestimated her persistence. A few days later, just as I was starting to enjoy the peace and quiet, my phone rang again. This time it was an unknown number. I usually ignored calls. Like that. But something in me decided to answer. The moment I heard the voice on the other end, I knew who it was. Mark. I heard you've been disrespecting your mother, he said, his tone dripping with condescension. I almost laughed. Of course. My mother couldn't manipulate me anymore, so now she had sent her husband to do her dirty work. I kept my voice calm. I haven't disrespected her. I just refused to give her money. Mark let out a sarcastic chuckle. You think this is about money? This is about family. You abandoned your family, and now you're neglecting Lily when she needs you most. Don't you feel ashamed? I clenched my jaw. I didn't abandon anyone. You and my mother pushed me out years ago, and Lily is not my responsibility. There was a pause. For a second, I foolishly thought that maybe, just maybe, he understood. Of course he didn't. You're selfish, he spat, his voice full of resentment. We've done everything for you, and this is how you repay us? By turning your back on Lily and your mother? I almost laughed out loud. Everything for me? They had stolen from me. They had treated me like I was disposable. They had neglected me for years. I was done. You did nothing. For me? I said, my voice steady. Once you had your perfect little family, you both acted like I didn't exist. My mother stole my money, and now suddenly I'm supposed to care about yours? Mark cut me off before I could finish. You're not a child anymore. It's time to stop acting like one. Family is about sacrifice. You owe this family. That word, owe, it set me off. No, Mark, I shot back. I don't owe you a damn thing. I could hear his anger rising, but I didn't care. They were the ones who owed something. They had taken from me, drained me, discarded me. This wasn't over, he warned. We're family, he said, his voice low, almost threatening. And we always will be, whether you like it or not. I hung up without another word. And the moment I did, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders, but it still wasn't over. A few days later, I received a text from Lily. Her message wasn't as aggressive as my mother's or Mark's, but it was still dripping with entitlement. Hey, I know things have been tense, but I really need help with this dorm situation. Can you please help me out? It's just $1,000 a month. With your income, that shouldn't be a big deal. I stared at my phone. Just $1,000 a month? As if I was some kind of walking wallet. As if I owed her something. I didn't even bother responding. I simply deleted the message and blocked her too. Thought that was the end of it. I was wrong. One evening, I got home from work and found an envelope in my mailbox. No return address. Just my name on the front. I opened it, feeling a weird sense of unease. And then I saw what was inside, and I laughed. My mother was trying to sue me. I held the legal notice in my hands, skimming through the ridiculous claims, family responsibilities, moral obligations, neglecting financial duty toward a sibling. She was actually trying to take me to court, claiming that I was legally responsible for Lily's college expenses because we were family. She had lost her damn mind. I immediately called my grandparents. When I told them what happened, my grandfather was livid. You don't need to worry about a thing, he assured me. I'll get a lawyer on this right away. A few days later, I sat in a lawyer's office, one of my grandfather's longtime friends. He read through the lawsuit, then looked up at me, shaking his head. You have nothing to worry about, he said. This is ridiculous. There's no legal basis for this. No court will ever force you to pay for your stepfather's child. We'll shut this down quickly. I let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding. She had no case. But a part of me still couldn't believe she had gone this far. As the court date approached, my mother tried one last time. She sent me an email. Are you really going to humiliate your own mother in court? You have a duty to help your family. Lily needs you. You can't be this heartless. If you drop your case and agree to help, I'll cancel the lawsuit immediately. I stared at the screen. She still didn't get it. I replied with a single word. No. And I blocked her email. When the court day arrived, I wasn't nervous anymore. I just wanted it to be over. My mother walked in looking pitiful, as if she was a struggling single mom betrayed by her own child. Mark sat beside her, scowling. I simply crossed my arms and waited. The trial lasted 15 minutes. The judge didn't even entertain it. There was no law forcing me to pay for Lily. Case dismissed. I turned to look at my mother. Her face was red with anger, her lips pressed tightly together. Mark whispered furiously in her ear. They had lost. And me? I simply stood up, fixed my coat, and walked out of that courtroom without looking back. For the first time, I was truly free. From that day on, I never heard from my mother again. No more calls, no more texts, no more emails, no more manipulation, and for the first time in years, I felt peace. I used to think that cutting ties with family would leave me feeling empty, but I was wrong. I had never felt stronger. And if you're in a situation like mine, trapped in a toxic family, manipulated, used for money, remember this: family is not about blood. Family is about love, respect, and mutual support. Sometimes the best thing you can do is not to hold on. Sometimes the only way to save yourself is to walk away. Thank you for listening to my story. If you found this helpful, please like, share, and subscribe for more real-life stories like this. See you in the next video.